GW cross bridging, Fort Lee living, Ashwater, River Road, GT ignition, MTV crib, Philippe in the kitchen. If I can't get it, Mava beneath for prison. Yeah, yo, dealer, the streets fiending. Connects be 80 old niggas, don't speak English. Get my payroll bigger, I keep scheming. Saying you a radio killer, keep dreaming. $5 speech, you talk cheap. On the offbeat, bars up like Wall Street.
What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. Now, I thought I was going to be able to run down to Bond Street this week to get their newest fragrance.com, but it was not in yet, so I'm going to pick that up and review it either next week or the following one. This week I was planning on getting something from Mason Francis Curtijon and review that, and I had a few vacation days that I needed to either use or lose at my job. So I took a couple of those this week and I went to Bergdorf Goodman to check out their fragrance selection. I hadn't been there in years to see what they had. I wanted to get a Curtijon scent. They're one of the few retailers in New York City that carry them. More on Bergdorf in a minute, but basically I went there, didn't love anything from that line. Came close to picking up Aqua Universalis, but decided to pass on it for now. And I had no idea of the selection that Bergdorf had. It is not reflected online, and I was literally in seventh heaven. Besides having Mason Francis Curtijon, Creed with the Royal exclusives included, they had Tom Ford's Private Blend, they have Histoire de Parfum by Kilian, Amouage, Clive Christian, Montale, Hermes, Aqua de Parma, Caron, and for the wet shavers they have the entire GOF Trumper line. Now, on the show I've discussed the snooty attitude that many high-end perfume stores have in New York City. I'm not naming names, but let me just say that Bergdorf has one of the best department stores, if not just fragrance store staffs, that I've ever come across. You guys know I know my shops, and I'm not trying to take shots at other shops here, but the Bergdorf buying program and the friendliness and knowledge of their staff is second to none in New York City. I felt like I was in the uptown version of Min. They talked to me about all their new stuff, sprayed tons of samples for me to smell, really wanted to make me to make a purchase that I would appreciate. And, you know, they knew that I knew the industry, and a lot of times stores have been kind of uppity about that and defensive, but these guys were asking about my collection and my tastes and praising my nose. I wore a Paisley Etro polo, which is my favorite polo shirt that I have. One of the salespeople knew immediately that it was Etro and told me how much he liked it. It was a very good experience. And to all my fragrance heads in New York and fellow reviewers, let me say, go there. You're welcome to go there. And to out-of-town fragrance heads, when you come here, make sure that you hit that place up first, if not the first. One of the first, if not the first places you check out. By Kilian, Montale, Clive Christian, Tom Ford Private Blend, Amouage, all under one roof with a friendly, knowledgeable staff. You know, I'm seriously considering making a switch from marketing work that I do into fragrance world and maybe the retail side of it. And that's the exact kind of atmosphere that I want to be in. So please do check that out. Now, with all that said, I was really surprised to see they had all these brands, and Montale's Intense Cafe was high on my list to check out. Al really liked it, and Steven and Renee both gave it glowing reviews. So when I saw they had Montale, first I was either looking for Amouage's Beloved Man or Fate. Fate wasn't in yet, and Beloved Man was sold out. So I asked if they had Intense Cafe, and they did. Min, I do think, sold out of it, and as soon as I saw they had it, I wanted to sniff it. They got it in pretty recently. They didn't have a tester out of this. They also got Chocolate Greedy in, and I decided that I didn't need the tester. The praise from, you know, Renee and Steven was enough for me, and I went ahead and picked up 100 ml of this for $160. I think they make a 50 ml of this stuff for $110, but I haven't seen that yet. I could be wrong. Before we talk about the scent, let's talk about Montale just for a little bit. It's a relatively new house that was started in Paris in 2003 by a gentleman named Pierre Montale, who is, as far as I know, does all of their fragrances. There's a good deal of mystery and sort of unknown surrounding him, but we do know that prior to launching his own brand, he had spent a good deal of time in Saudi Arabia, where he created bespoke scents for the royalty, and sort of the trademark of the Montale scents are the quality and the long-lastingness of the fragrances. There's large amounts of high-end material in there. They're kept in these aluminum bottles with good reason. That's to keep the fragrance away from sunlight. Fragrances, as you guys know, are a bit like gremlins. Light will kill them. Not immediately, but prolonged exposure to sunlight can really damage a fragrance. Montale has worked prolifically in his 10 years with his house. He has released about 90 scents. Most of them are centered around very luxurious, strong ingredients like sandalwood, oud, and musk. Oud is a material that Montale has really mastered well in the Middle East, and it plays a large part in most of his fragrances. If there's not oud in the fragrances, it's probably musk or something else, high-end. I've smelled about 10 of their scents. None really piqued my curiosity because I'm not a huge oud fan. One that I really did like was their red oud scent, which is a nice gourmandish scent. But this one had me interested because I sort of regret purchasing New Harlem by Bond No. 9, which is, of course, the hit fragrance that Maurice Roussel composed. It smells like pancakes and maple syrup and coffee. It's a little too sweet and gourmand for me, but I do like the coffee note and wanted to see what Montale would do with it, especially after the YouTube love it got. This is a unisex scent. It's classified as an Oriental vanilla, released in 2013, made its way to the United States around 2 months ago. Simple notes in this fragrance: coffee, rose, amber, and white musk. Presentation is also simple. It comes with a little leather-like carrying bag. The box is just a big gold box. It says Intense Cafe Eau de Parfum. There's some standard information on the top and bottom. I think the batch code is somewhere on the back of this. No, the bottom over here. All the bottles are aluminum. All the Montale bottles. This is a purple one with gold writing. It has a little stopper that you cannot spray the scent on while the stopper is there. It does, as Stephen mentioned in his review, feel a little light. That's because it's aluminum. It is filled all the way up, and there's nothing on the bottom. So it is a simple aluminum bottle. I do like these Montale bottles. There is no cap, just a stopper, which I don't think is a big deal. I guess I prefer a cap, but not the end of the world. It's a nice presentation, and again, it comes in that aluminum to keep the freshest fragrance away from sunlight. And remember, this is a eau de parfum, so it is a lot of perfume, concentrated oils in this scent, less alcohol in these. What I get out of this fragrance, what do I think of it? Well, first and foremost, I think it blows New Harlem out of the water. I would say, think of New Harlem as a iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts with cream and sugar, and think of Intense Cafe as a shot of espresso pulled in a little Italian cafe in the countryside. There is a legit coffee note in here, like a roasted coffee bean note, and with that rose, it is pretty intense. The name is more than fitting. Now, that coffee note combined with the rose gives you a scent unlike anything I've ever smelled. It's really well done and very imaginative. I'm not sure it's something that anyone would have expected, and if it wasn't done right, it could have been a disaster. When you first spray it, I think it comes on too hard. It tries too much immediately. It smells like, to me, immediately, a low-quality sucking candy right off the bat. But that only lasts for about a minute or so. Then what you get for about 2 to 3 hours after that is a very good coffee and realistic dark rose note. Sort of the same rose composition that exists in Check and Speak's number 88 exists in here as well. And that's not so much a bright, airy rose, but more of one with some darkness and depth to it. It's funny because if they had a tester, I probably wouldn't have purchased this. I might have been turned off by that instant opening and not have waited to see what this scent's really about. Again, that's why you need to sample a scent and learn its opening, middle, and base notes. Now, as the scent evolves in your skin, it's a long journey. As I said, it's an eau de parfum concentration. On my skin, this lasts 8 to 10 hours easy. I went to bed one night, woke up the next day, and could still smell it on my hand. That is a rarity with fragrances that I have. This is true quality in Montale's fragrances, and that price of $160 seems like a real bargain to me. But as this evolves, you start to pick up that amber, vanilla, white musk, which is essentially the spinal column of this fragrance, and what holds it together. It makes it all work. A summer release does seem a bit curious to me. A bunch of people have already told me that this shouldn't be worn in the summer, and I agree. This is a late fall winter fragrance. I'm excited to wear this when it gets chilly out and wear it on nice fall evenings when it comes time for football weather. I think that's the time a fragrance like this will really shine. And funny enough, at this time of year, it's not really the coffee that makes it too much, surprisingly, but instead, to me at least, it's the rose, which makes it a little bit too dark and potent. This is something that I'll only spray on myself twice when I wear it, once on my chest, once on my neck. As far as the age range goes for something like this is something that I think men over 30 years old should try to pull off, not so much for women. Although I guess I could see some women pulling this off. New Harlem could easily be worn by college kids and teenagers. I just don't see that with this. This has some sophistication to it. If New Harlem is Hugh Jackman, this scent is more like a young Marlon Brando. Potent, but not out there flaunting it. I really do like this fragrance, and for me, when you combine the entire package, the price, the bottle, and the beautiful, strong scent, it earns an 8 out of 10 for me. I'm still going to explore coffee fragrances because at the end of the day, I'm looking for a more pure coffee scent with less interference from other strong notes. But this still is pretty damn good. And for the coffee scents that I've put my nose on, this is king for me. Furthermore, this really opens up the brand for me. At the price point that these Montale scents are offered, it's a damn good deal. Most of the 50 ml bottles are available for $110. And $110 for a niche scent with the quality of ingredients that Montale uses is such a bargain. It sort of reinforces my belief that the Creed and By Killians of the world are ODing by asking what they ask for their fragrances. These guys are mostly oud and musk-based scents, these Montale scents. And those are two of the most costly ingredients in the industry. So to offer these scents at these prices is such a gift to the fragrance community. So bravo to Montale and bravo to Bergdorf Goodman for the library of houses that they've built up. Great job by them. Anyway, folks, that is this week's show. Next week, we're going to be looking at my first review for the House of Les Artisans Parfumés. And during the middle of the week, we're going to do another episode of Sample Shopping. We'll be looking at samples, 4 samples this week of scents from the houses of Creed, Amouage, Comme des Garçons, and Parfumum Roma. So, thank you so much for watching this episode of Maximilian Must Know. Stay tuned for the 2 episodes next week.
Clapping me, I'm forever clapping, never slacking, velvet napping, Jeff, hear me, leather action. Fuck whatever happened, vote for Beretta packing, whether any weather, wherever, from a clever faction. No fiction, not nods, it's so written. My old pigeon, rolly box, the gold ribbon. Where I'm from, check the sky, no ribbon.